One Piece has always had some of the best character revelations in all of shonen anime and manga, but with the release of chapter 1138 we're on an entirely new level now. Just as we were processing the bombshell that Figaland Shamrock, the celestial dragon who had invaded Elbaf, is actually the twin brother of Shanks, Oda hits us with another major surprise, which is the mysterious Kasa-hat man who has been lurking in Elbaf is none other than Scopper Gaban, the legendary left hand of Pirate King Gol D Roger. After chapter 1138, fans had been theorizing about its reveals, with Shamrock's mythical Cerebrus sword and the ancient text called the Harley, which details the three great worlds or eras of the history of One Piece. But this week's chapter 1139 shifts the focus to what might be one of the most highly anticipated fights yet, as we see Luffy facing off against a man whose strength had once rivaled both Roger and Rayleigh. In this video, I'll be breaking down everything that you need to know about One Piece chapter 1139, from the magic circle in Orist Castle to the legends of the Mountain Eater who could level forests with his twin axes. I'll be covering everything, and be sure to stick around until the very end of the video, as we'll be discussing how the events of this chapter tie into the endgame of One Piece. So without further delay, here is my review for chapter 1139. Before the video begins, only 20% of the people who actually watch my content are subscribed to the channel. If you enjoy these videos, then subscribe and stick around for more content just like this. Now let's get back to the topic of the video. After weeks of speculating about the mysterious figure in the Kasa-hat, this week's chapter confirms what some fans had suspected, that this inhabitant of Elbaf is none other than the legendary left arm of the Pirate King. But what makes this reveal even more interesting isn't just who Gaban is, but how deeply linked he is within the community of Elbaf. Gaban isn't just some wandering legend, he's actually built a life within Elbaf, and he's married to Ripley, and he is the father to Colin. Contrasting Gaban to his fellow crewmate Rayleigh, who has maintained his wandering warrior lifestyle, it's interesting to compare how the left arm and right arm of Roger had ended up. Gaban's appearance has changed significantly from the last time that we had seen him during Odin's flashback, as he now has a braided beard and, most interestingly, a flame-shaped scar on his forehead that he didn't have during his time with Roger. This detail hasn't gone unnoticed by fans, as some are speculating its connection to the prophesized man marked by flames, which was mentioned way back in chapter 1056. During the village festivities, Oimo shares a tale that puts Gaban's legendary status into perspective, revealing why his challenge to Luffy carries so much weight. According to the Giant's account, among the Roger pirates, only 2 members stood head and shoulders above the rest in terms of raw combat ability. While everybody knew about Rayleigh, the second figure's identity was shrouded in mystery until now. The story which Oimo shares explains why Gaban had earned the fearsome title of Mountain Eater. During a key moment when Roger needed medical treatment, their crew found themselves cornered at a mountain hospital surrounded by hundreds of enemy pirates. Rather than retreat, Gaban stepped forward alone, armed with nothing but his signature twin axes. What followed wasn't just a battle, it was a complete transformation of the landscape. By the time Gaban's axes stopped swinging, not a single tree remained standing on the mountain, and neither did any of his opponents who had dared to threaten Roger. This brief backstory adds a lot of weight to the climax of this chapter. Here stands a man whose raw strength had rivaled the Pirate King, and by the end of the chapter we see Gaban confronting Luffy, challenging the new generation's rising star. The giants of Elbaf have a reverence for the strength of Gaban, even after he's spent 20 years living peacefully among them. It speaks volumes that he's earned the respect of the Elbaf giants who follow a warrior-like culture. During this chapter, we are taken through the halls of Orist Castle, where Luffy, Nami, Zoro, and Road face a labyrinth-like puzzle. The sheer scale of the giant castle is daunting, as all of them are dwarfed by the towering corridors and massive chambers that they are going through. Now the real fascinating stuff begins when they stumble upon the throne room, as they see a mysterious circle etched into the floor which catches everyone's attention, especially when Luffy mentions having seen something similar recently. If you've been been paying attention, then these are similar to the transportation circles that we had seen on Egghead Island. Nami also adds that these circles could be used for demon summoning rituals, but as they travel further, they encounter the hidden treasure room. After Gaban guides them to the secret chamber beneath the throne, expecting to find riches, they instead discover nothing but empty chests, aside from one item which even thieves wouldn't dare to touch, and this is Loki's key. The clever subversion here, as well as the building of tension, reinforces the significance of this key. Now, it's here within the empty treasure room where Gaban makes his challenge to Luffy, as it transforms a simple treasure hunt into a test of resolve. Now, Gaban frames this challenge in a very interesting way. He states, "Take it from me if you think you can." These are echoes from his time within Roger's crew, as the members of that crew were known for being direct, unflinching, and their words were loaded with deeper meanings. Unlike previous legendary figures of the past which Luffy has encountered, Gaban's challenge feels less like a battle for dominance and more like a carefully planned examination of his ability as a Yonko. This setup here brilliantly mirrors Luffy's past encounters with members from Roger's crew like Rayleigh. Instead of facing someone who is trying to stop him, Luffy is up against someone who seems more interested in measuring his worth. Gaban's earlier comments about Loki's threat level and his careful positioning suggest that this isn't just about raw strength, it's about proving that he has the judgment and responsibility needed to handle the consequences of freeing Loki. This might be the setup for one of the most interesting fights in recent chapters, because so much is at stake. It's not just about getting the key, it's about proving to one of Roger's most trusted companions that the new generation is ready to handle the responsibilities that come with great power. The timing of Gaban's challenge becomes even more significant when you consider the revelations from the Harley text in the last chapter. The ancient book spoke of 3 distinct worlds or eras, with the first world being the most mysterious and predating even the appearance of devil fruits. Gaban, having sailed with Roger and lived in Elbaf for over 2 decades, he likely possesses key information into how these eras connect to the island of Elbaf's history. And then you have reveals about the second world from the Harley text, which state that it was marked by the emergence of the devil fruits, while we're currently living in what the Harley text refers to as the third world, an era that seems to be approaching its end. I don't think it's coincidental that a member from Roger's crew has appeared just as we learn about these ancient texts. Remember, Roger's crew reached Laughed Hill and they learnt the true history, meaning Gaban might be one of the few living people who can contextualize how Elbaf fits into these 3 worlds. His challenge to Luffy could be more than just testing his strength, as it might be about determining if Luffy is ready to inherit the knowledge of how these eras connect to Joy Boy, Nika, and the Void Century. According to the Harley, the third world is destined to end, and who better to help guide Luffy and the others than someone who has first-hand knowledge of both the ancient texts and the entire journey of the Pirate King Gol D Roger. As we look towards chapter 1140, several questions need answers. Will Luffy's fight with Gaban mirror his past meetings with Roger's former crew members, or will it take an unexpected turn? The setup for this fight hints at there being something a bit more complex than just a straightforward fight. Additionally, Gaban's intimate knowledge of Elbaf's customs and his family ties to the community suggest that his test might involve something a bit more than just a fight. The aftermath of Gaban vs Luffy may shed more light on Loki's imprisonment and its connection to the broader world of One Piece. With the recent revelation about Shanks' true heritage through Shamrock, Gaban's insights may prove critical in understanding the web of relationships between the world government, the ancient kingdom, and the giants of Elbaf. Unfortunately, next week we are on a break with One Piece, as we have to patiently wait and see what Oda is going to reveal next. So this week's chapter has had the community talking about several key points, as people are speculating about Gaban's combat abilities in relation to Roger and Rayleigh, as people are speculating about the true hierarchy of power within Roger's crew. People are also loving Oda's parallels with his characters, particularly how Gaban's personality traits mirror Sanji's characteristics. As we know, Zoro is Luffy's right-hand man, while Sanji is effectively Luffy's left-hand man. It's these amazing character parallels which evidence how long Oda has been planning these reveals. A lot of people are also interested in the hybrid races which have been mentioned within chapter 1139, like the Dasundadas, and their role within the One Piece world. The reveal of this mixed race has had several people looking back at earlier chapters, trying to see if there were any clues that they have overlooked. There were also some really cool supernatural elements in this week's chapter, with the magic circle, which has generated a lot of buzz, and this magic circle may be linked to the true nature of the world government, as we had seen the Gorosei use it to travel from Merijo to Egghead Island. Now, a lot of discussions have been centered around whether if Gaban is actually the mysterious man marked by flames, with fans stating that his flame-shaped scar is evidence of this fact, but others are still skeptical, as Oda does have a history of misdirecting his fans, so we do have a bit of a wait in order to learn the true identity of this figure. So again, chapter 1140 will be released following a break, and as with most chapters, we are left with even more questions than answers. But we have reached the point of the video where I do want to hand over the discussion to all of you. What were your thoughts on chapter 1139 of One Piece? Do let me know by leaving all of your thoughts in the comments, and lastly, go ahead and check out my dedicated One Piece channel called Kaizuku King. I have several in-depth videos over there, including ranking videos and even some character analysis on some of your favorite characters. So do subscribe and check out that channel, and lastly, thanks for making it to the end of this video, and I cannot wait to see you in my next One Piece chapter review. A massive thank you goes out to all of my amazing Patreon supporters for helping to make this video possible. If you also want to support the channel and see your name in the end of my videos, then check out my Patreon, which has loads of perks like early video access and so much more. Thank you for sticking around till the end of the video, and whatever you contribute will mean a lot to me.